Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to CW Live. My name's Chris Webb, Head of Communications. Obviously, you know these two guys are. Dave Ward, I'm General Secretary, and Andy Fury, our Acting Deputy General Secretary. Postal, we know as well that most of you will still be at work, so this isn't an intentional thing from us. We just wanted to give you really an overview before the strike tomorrow, and know that many of you will watch it on catch-up later on, so it's going to be quite a relaxed format. We're going to be talking through where we are, where the negotiations are, why you need to support the strike action tomorrow, and what, more importantly, what the unions are going to be doing in the coming days and weeks just to win this dispute. So also happy to take any questions you've got. Keep an eye on them in the comments, so get them in there and we'll get them up. Before that, though, I think, Dave, if you want to say a few words to open up, mate.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks for everybody who's joining us now. You know how serious this is. You know that the union is got your back. The union will not back down on these proposals that the company are putting forward. We can't back down because they're going to destroy our members' jobs and they're going to destroy the service that you've delivered for so many years. We just simply cannot allow that to happen. In terms of how we want to move this forward, tomorrow the strike, Thursday the strikes will go ahead, obviously. We want the same spirit, the same strength, the same resolve that we've seen on every strike day there again tomorrow. We went out and about on picket lines. We'll be doing the same tomorrow. And, you know, it was really uplifting to see and feel how many of our members understand now completely what this is all about and the long-term future of their jobs and the business. Where we are with Thompson, the CEO, is that we wrote to him, offering him talks at the weekend. Right through this week, he came back with a letter yesterday, which he published. We've written to him again today. And what I would say, if Simon Thompson is watching, as he often does on these things, doesn't really matter how he wants to position, whether he wants to talk to us in more detail about the proposal that we've rejected and will continue to reject, whether he wants to talk about our alternative approach, which he stated in his letter, then the responsibility on both parties is to get in the room and negotiate a settlement. And we're committed to that. And I've written to him saying that, you know, we're willing to meet the rest of this week and next week to resolve the dispute. I think we want to update you today on some of the issues around job losses, because what Thompson is saying about job losses at the moment is just not true and not acceptable to any union. I mean, we're in a position here where this company is asking us to sign up to a plan that you know and we know will result in mass job losses and will result in compulsory redundancies. Andy will give you an update in a minute on the reality that we have received a letter about compulsory redundancies, and he'll explain that to you. So we know that's where the company's heading at the moment. On the issues of the service, the union cannot agree to abandoning the AM delivery period. That will destroy the relationship that you have with customers. It's an appalling business plan. There's no business in their right mind that was looking to grow in the future that would decide to push the delivery times back by up to 3 hours. No one would do that. So we're not going to agree that. And that's why our alternative approach is very, very important. Thompson makes light of that in his letter. He knows that that's a serious attempt at growing this business. It's something that we've debated with them on so many occasions. We're doing a lot of work politically to get support for that approach. And we offered the company the opportunity to go to the government, to jointly go there on the basis of how can we sustain the USO, but also how can we expand the role of postal workers. That offer's still sitting there and will continue to be there. But look, where we are at the moment, guys, you got to get ready for the strikes tomorrow. You know that you need to be out there. You know we've got the public on our side. Let's go out there again. Let's get the strikes supported as big as ever. Let's stick with the union, stick with your fellow workers, because we're going to win this dispute.
Thank you, Dave. Brilliant, buddy. Andy, I'll come to you on the issue of the negotiations. Obviously, you know, we had the strike actions last week, which was hugely successful. I mean, we saw some real strange propaganda from some of the managers claiming that the strike wasn't well supported. I mean, one of the recurring themes of this dispute actually has been Royal Mail management treating our members as if they're stupid, i.e. they know no one's gone into work because they're actually out there on picket lines with their mates at work. But you know, the union again reached out by yourself and Dave, offering negotiations, wanting to resolve dispute, recognising the seriousness of the situation, not only for our members, but for the public and for thousands and thousands of businesses across the country that need us. Whilst you two are saying, and the union's executive and officers are saying, we're available 24/7 to resolve disputes. Or more and more stuff on Workplace this morning. I think Simon Thompson's can put it on the screen now. His post this morning was of a bollard. So, like, whilst you're saying you're ready to resolve the dispute and talks, Simon's putting up pictures of bollards saying he's out and about. This guy, I mean, obviously some of this, we talked about this previously, as a deliberate tactic, isn't it? This is about demoralising our members. We're not going to move. We're not going to, budge. You're going to be defeated. But, I mean, they're not serious, Andy. And how important is that people don't lose heart because of the approach from the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, firstly, a big thank you from the executive, from the officers, for the support that you showed on the strike last week, the 48-hour strike last week. It was once again supported magnificently. The spin that Royal Mail come out with and said there was an 84% drift back. I mean, 84% of diddly squat. It was nothing. It's absolute nonsense. I mean, if Simon Thompson can predict those sort of numbers and pluck them out of thin air, he could give us the lottery winning numbers for the weekend if he's got that much of ability. But look, in terms of demoralisation, this is a war of attrition, and we are fighting for the very, very survival of this company, this industry, this great public service, and for all the jobs within it. There's no doubt about that. They're out to break this union, break the resolve of our membership, break the influence of the union in the workplace. And if they can get away with it, they will run amok. And that's what they're trying to do. Now, clearly, we can't allow that to happen. And as Dave says, that's why we've got to win this dispute, and we will. We need to remain steadfast. We need to remain, determined and resilient, and not let this stubbornness and these games that are being played by the employer get us down. So, I'm confident that once again our members will show up in magnificent numbers on the picket lines tomorrow, and will take action in unprecedented numbers, because we're right. This is about protecting the jobs now and in the future, and indeed compulsory redundancies is definitely a spectre hanging over our heads on this. And we can talk about that some more, Chris, as well.
Yeah, we definitely can, buddy. I mean, I'll come on to that now, because I mean, I think you've brought it up at an opportune moment, Andy. I think Dave can come back to both of you, but come back to you now in a natural line of questioning. This is a letter that was received by the union, printed up on screen now. People might not be able to read that because of the size of the print, and I can't read it because of the size of the print. But moving away from what we've our MTSF processes and how we select people for voluntary redundancy, starting to talk about compulsory redundancy, but not only that, saying that their selection criteria would include things such as conduct, attendance, capabilities, and any other appropriate criteria. So essentially, we'll decide who goes and we'll decide where they go. Dave, we can't let them move into this realm, can we?
No, of course we can't. And, they are doing that now because they know that the result of their plans will lead to that. So they're actually asking the union to engage with them in consultation on how you go about achieving compulsory redundancy. Of course, we're not going to do that. And the only way you stop that is to continue to support the strikes. We've had some decent coverage about the reality of how many jobs are being attacked. And as we continually keep saying, these are attacks unlike any other group of workers have faced probably in the last 30, 40 years. It's that serious. The attacks on the service, we've got to stop the plan that they're pushing forward around abandoning deliveries in the AM period. And because that's linked to the company turning it into a gig economy employer. And it's that plan that will bring about those job losses. So our alternative approach to all of this is really worth fighting for. We're going to keep pushing that forward. We'd also say to remember that these unlimited numbers of owner drivers that the company are looking to bring in, looking for the union to sign up to that in that proposal, was one of the conditions they put in there. Bringing in new entrants on lower terms and conditions and retaining agency workers at the moment. They're not bringing them people in to stand alongside and work alongside our members. They're bringing them in to replace existing hardworking, loyal postal workers. And as we keep saying, we have no problem whatsoever with individual members choosing to take voluntary redundancy. We don't agree with the terms. They're 50% less than what the union has previously negotiated. But it is ultimately up to individuals to choose that if that's what they want. What we can't accept is that the people who are left behind are either going to be forced out the door because they're bringing in new workers, or they're going to be unable to cope with the workload that's left. So, you know, these issues are getting bigger. They're not getting smaller. I think they're coming to people's attention now a lot more. It was great on the picket line the other week down in Southend and in Chelmsford to see literally how many of our members totally got every single point that's involved in this dispute, totally understood how unreasonable and unfair the company are. You know, and what I'd say to all of you is our aim here is to reach an agreement. But rather than sack postal workers, it should be the people on the board who are sacked. And let me say that it's not just Simon Thompson, the CEO. He's acting on behalf of a whole board led by the chair, Keith Williams. These are people who know what they're doing. They know they're attacking their own workers. They know that they're in boardroom power struggles with Vaser about who's going to take over the future of the company. And they're asking our members to pay the price for their mistakes. We're not having that. It's simple as that. Gross financial errors have taken place by these same people, and now they're expecting us to pay the price for that. We've got to carry on fighting in this dispute. We've got ideas on how we can resolve this. We're willing to put them to the company again. As I say, I've written to Thompson this afternoon. Let's see what comes from that letter.
Thank you, Dave. Andy, I know you probably want to comment on that issue of compulsory redundancies again, buddy.
Yeah, certainly. So, look, I wrote to Zarina Brown, the Chief People Officer, on the 25th of October and stated that the union would not engage in inappropriate discussions on compulsory redundancies, let alone agree a selection criteria. So that was a month ago. Received a letter dated the 28th of November, just yesterday afternoon, where the company is now saying, whilst they want to try and avoid compulsory redundancies, they cannot rule it out. And then they go on to say that the redundancy consultation that's going on at the moment, they will continue with, but crucially, they identified the following objective criteria they're claiming is objective. And as Chris has said, it includes conduct, attendance, capability, skills. It even specifies that, you know, having a driving license for delivery might enable you to remain in employment. If you haven't got a driving license, then you're essentially on death row in terms of employment. If you're a delivery, if you're a postman doing the delivery, or postwoman. And then it says, you know, and here's the coup de grace, any other appropriate criteria, e.g. customer complaints. You know, you've only got to walk up the path the wrong way and a customer makes a complaint, and then that could be the criteria for you being made compulsory redundant. This is, you know, we're exposing here the actions and attitude of a despicable employer who wants to destroy this service and your jobs, and they want you to pay the price for that by being made compulsory redundant. If your face don't fit, you'll be out the door with this criteria. It's completely and utterly unacceptable. And to be clear, our post executive has today unanimously agreed a policy that we will not engage with the employer about compulsory redundancies. We will not engage with the employer about a criteria to determine who should be made compulsory redundant. What we are prepared to do is get round the bargaining table, as Dave says, with Simon Thompson and thrash out a deal that puts job security, job protection, safeguards of employment first and foremost for everybody. What we can't allow and accept is a situation where new entrants are coming in on new terms and conditions, in grossly inferior terms and conditions, and at the same time they're trying to force people out the door by compulsion. It is completely and utterly unacceptable, and we will not tolerate this under any circumstances. If you ever needed a reason for taking strike action tomorrow, this compulsory redundancy issue is what should get you motivated, because if Thompson and Co get their way, they will force people out the door just because their face don't fit.
Thank you, Andy. Spot on, buddy. Dave, can't not bring this subject matter up. So I want to talk about the issue of affordability, and I think we've recognised that, you know, the company has some serious financial issues. We've obviously made that absolutely clear that that's because of the mismanagement, the gross mismanagement, in your words, of the company. At the same time, this is a company who's employing 11,000 casuals, who's paying out millions and millions to agencies to break our strike, offering Partial Force colleagues bribes to cross the picket line. But yesterday we saw probably even more sinister twist in the tale, where Royal Mail have gone out to their managers and struck a deal with one of our sister unions, Unite the Union, on a manager's bonus, potentially for some of those senior managers up to 20% of their salary can be earned additionally to their other bonus. So they're already earning a bonus for basically implementing the redundancy and job slashing agenda of Royal Mail. Another trade union has signed up for cutting across our dispute, where we're saying we are standing against that. You've just heard Andy there and yourself say, we don't agree with that. We're not engaging in that. Another union has signed up an agreement and says there's a bag of money there for you if you implement that. And lots of people in the comments are saying, like, what are we doing about Unite? What is your message to the General Secretary of Unite? Can we challenge this via the TUC? This just isn't right.
Well, look, it's an absolute disgrace. There's no excuses that anybody could put forward from another trade union on the actions of the managers who are represented by Unite. It is absolutely breaking all kind of trade union protocols. It's not trade unionism. And if there's people in Unite who think that they're going to ride on the back of our members, which is exactly what they're doing, I mean, it's disgraceful behaviour in a way where we take the action and our strength, and the company are going to them to get them on board and putting money in front of them, no matter how much it affords, as well as all the agencies and everything else, just to break our members' strikes and break the morale of our members and, finish off jobs. It's not on. What I'd say to everybody listening is that we'll be taking it up with Unite. I've tried to contact the General Secretary twice in the last 24 hours. You can imagine that's going to be a difficult conversation. And yes, absolutely, we will be raising it at the TUC as well. I think we've got to realise here about affordability. The company have got themselves in this position. It's a self-inflicted wound. That £567 million, a huge amount of money that they gave away when they knew that we were facing tough economic times and a post-pandemic, decline in the letter and parcel volumes, and yet they still went ahead and done that. We know that they ended the cross-subsidy with GLS, which was their money, their profits. All of that could have been put into building the company in the future, but they chose not to do it. And this last attempt now to get managers to make our members redundant, if there's any managers out there watching this, you need to seriously think about whether or not you belong to a trade union, that you're actually going to carry this out. It is disgraceful. It's not acceptable. And I'm saying to you, I'm frustrated. I'm angry at it as well, that we'll take it up directly with the General Secretary of Unite. Don't do it, managers. Your jobs will go at some point. You're being used. I think in the video I saw earlier on today from one of our members saying that the managers are sort of like lemons jumping off a cliff. Listen, it's outrageous, and you've got to stop that type of behaviour if you want to be a trade unionist. Obviously, you're not if you're going to accept that. Unite need to do something about it, need to condemn it, and the TUC need to do the same.
Spot on, Dave. On that note, I'm going to play that video. You've teed me up
right. So, very good video, actually.
Brilliant video. Often it's brilliant to hear from Andy, Dave, and I know you respect it. You can see we didn't even advertise the session. We got 4,000 of you on here chatting to us and in the comments. But
we need cool heads on the picket lines tomorrow.
We're going to come to that next, Andy. Come on, I can't have you two trying to interrupt my session constantly. Here is, first of all, hear from one of your own.
It's a big day. I want to deliver 3 messages. One to my colleagues, one to Royal Mail Group managers, and one to the public. To my workmates, my friends, the people going through this with me, I say stick together. I haven't been a postie long, but I know all about solidarity. Thanks to you, my union, and the culture we have. Are we seriously saying, because it's tough, we're going to give up? Are we seriously saying, as working class people, we're going to bow down to millionaires who could never walk a day in our shoes? Are we seriously saying, we'll lay down and see the service we love destroyed? No, we won't. We will rise. We will picket. We will not be moved. Never mind this Christmas, Mr. Thompson. We will be here till next Christmas if we need to be. Life is about choices, everyone. I choose to fight. To the managers posting on Workplace, falling for the propaganda, believing the CEOs, this is all going to come down to you. There's no way a serious business will continue to be operated in this way. The CEO's time is limited. so is this moment. You're making decisions now which catch up with you later. If they cut our jobs, they'll cut yours too. You're being led like lemons off a cliff. And finally, to the public, thank you so much for your support. Everywhere I go, people are asking me how things are, wishing me luck. We need you. We're fighting for you. If you see your postie, please give them support. They need it right now. Simon Thompson, get back in the room or get out of the way. Victory to the posties.
Well done, Amy there. Fantastic. Brilliant. What a brilliant video, eh? So give Amy a shout out there from our Wimbledon delivery office. Done a great job. So I think that leads nicely, Andy, if I can come to you now, buddy, into the question of multiple questions, actually. We can see in the comments here that how just right behind the members are of this union, and I've got loads of stuff to come on what we're going to do next week to talk about you and Dave. But one of the things we need is obviously the biggest possible support for the strike. We need people on the picket lines, obviously keeping things legal, 6 on the picket lines, supporters in other areas around the office, not blocking the entrance, etc. We need everything to be legal. We need cool heads. So I wanted you to give a plea, really, on a pitch to it. We need that support tomorrow and support the strike. But additionally, alongside that, there is some outrageous antics going on from Royal Mail. We've got lots of our reps suspended, some of our members suspended. So a message to them as well who will be watching this broadcast, please.
Well, I think first and foremost, the message of unity and solidarity to our reps that have been suspended, our members that have been suspended, some for many, many weeks now. Some are going through, it's a fit up. It's a complete stitch up for many of them. Completely and utterly spurious charges. And this is messing with people's heads. This is outright bullying. It's outrageous the way people are being treated there. But, nothing surprises me with this company. Royal Mail are absolutely in the gutter and behaving despicably. They are atrocious. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves and the way they are treating hard-working men and women that have devoted their working lives to this company. It's shameful, it really is. But look, we will turn this around by winning this dispute, and we will ensure that people that have been singled out, those people that are innocent will get justice, and we will ensure that nobody is wrongly disciplined or dismissed. We're not having it. It's completely and utterly unacceptable. In terms of tomorrow and the following day, we just simply say, just be careful, be vigilant, make sure you don't put yourself in a position where they can have a pop at you or have a go at you. We just need to cool heads and remain calm. We are right. We will prevail, and we don't need to get angry. What we're doing here is just, and let's be dignified, let's be respectful, and let's pick it appropriately. And let's be seen and be heard, and do what we need to do on those picket lines when we're demonstrating. But let's absolutely be clear. Don't do anything that gives management any excuse to have a go at you, because we don't want any more of our members or reps disciplined or suspended.
Thanks, Andy. A spot on, buddy, and really, really important message here to people. Turn out in the bigger numbers than ever, but we show discipline because they don't need any excuses. They're showing that. Dave, wanted to talk. Actually, by the way, Amy, you're getting lots of love. People saying Amy for CEO. Dave, you were calling you and Andy last week saying the members could do a better job than CEO. So there we go. We're throwing Amy forward. She's got a lot of votes already from her colleagues. Want to talk about? We put the picture up earlier on of the bollard thing from Simon Thompson. Let's just call it what it is: weird behaviour, Yeah. But equal, and it is strange, and there's no doubt about it. Like somebody who's up at like the crack of dawn, and then still there at midnight posting stuff to your members and posting weird stuff and like pretending he's not, above a body union, etc. It's strange behaviour. But there's a more sinister side to that. And we're seeing more and more of our members saying they're having to leave a job. We're seeing more and more of our members saying they're under more pressure than ever. And there's a growing mental health crisis in Royal Mail created by the leadership of the company. And people, in the comments are saying it really, that, they support strikes, no question about that, keep going. But they're almost feeling destroyed by their own employer. Yeah,
it's shameful what's going on. They're creating a toxic atmosphere in offices, and that's part of the attack. It's union busting, it's worker busting tactics, where they've clearly gone to sinister forces, brought those people in, and it's a psychological warfare approach that they're launching on our members. And I would say to you that, when you're faced with that, heed the words that Andy said. Let's keep calm. Let's be respectful when we're out on strike. But if you are seeing those things happening in your workplace, you really have to put in grievances. You have to go through the processes. Bombard Royal Mail with what they're giving you. Give it back to them and make sure that you document every single thing that you're seeing and hearing. When you feel it's intimidation, stand up and say it's intimidation. When you feel it's harassment of you going about your daily job, put a letter of complaint in saying that it's harassment. And, I think they've gone to levels that I don't think we've ever seen in the workforce, in any workforce in the UK. I can say this to you because we've done a little bit of research on this. They brought a guy in called Grant McPherson, who heads up their ops board. And we asked a question a few weeks back, why as one of the senior people, he wasn't actually in the talks, as he's supposedly in charge of the operation. And they said, well, he's got too many other things to deal with. They actually said to us that they didn't think he would be a great help. But this is somebody who we know is holding calls with managers on a daily basis. And we've been advised by managers who are decent people, who are not taking the bung that Royal Mail are putting in front of them, to say that he is actually threatening the managers on these calls. And anybody who questions anything they're doing, they're almost told to get out of the business there and then, and they're followed up afterwards. So that intimidation that's taking place in your workplace is also taking place with the managers. And the orders are coming right from the top here. The orders to fit up people, our members, our reps who have been fitted up, as Andy said. Look, there will be some cases where people have acted wrongly, and that'll have to go through the proper conduct procedures. But virtually most, I would say, of the cases that we've seen, overwhelmingly, are definitely them deliberately fitting people up to add to pressure, taking people out of the workplace to frighten other people in the workplace. It's the worst type of tactic that you could ever come across. It's despicable, as Andy said. Unfortunately, it does exist. And a lot of American labour movement people face this type of assault every day of the week, because there's people over there who they've brought in to the UK who practice these type of things. And it is psychological. And the point Chris makes, given how serious mental health issues are at the moment, and we've got some great reps who are out there to support people who are suffering from mental health problems. And, everybody across the country, mental health has become such a big issue now. And people are, understandably, really worried when these sort of things happen. But, it's going to a level that no one can accept. And I would urge you really have got to take this up through their procedures and name the managers that are doing it. We'll get you lawyers if we need to. If you bring us the evidence of what's going on in greater detail, we'll fight back. We'll get our lawyers onto it, because what they're doing, and I am saying this, I don't care what the guy says. He can say what he wants. The company can say what they want. We know from what managers are telling us that this is an orchestrated attack, and it is deliberately trying to play with the mental health of our members to try and break this dispute. And, we know that you're seeing that every day of the week, but now we've got to do something about it seriously. So get them complaints in, take the grievances out, providing you feel that way. I'm not telling you to do it in the way that Royal Mail are doing it, just to have a go back when it ain't happening to you. But if it's happening to you, you have to take it up, log it, get the branch onto it as well. And we'll also be contacting our lawyers, because we are going to start naming and shaming some of these managers who are sitting behind this and whose job is to basically launch psychological warfare on a workforce who are fighting for their jobs and the service, not on.
Andy, I don't know if you wanted to comment on the back of that around that there's a pressure on our members at work.
Look, I mean, people's well-being, their mental health at work also flows through to the home life. And, it's just terrible that people are being gaslighted in this way. It's atrocious that they are actually looking to make victims of our members, and we can't have that. And, so we do need to stand up and protect and defend people. I'm encouraged to hear what Dave said there about legal support where appropriate, where we can prove that people, managers, are out of order. But look, this culture comes from the very top of the company, and they are treating everybody in a despicable way. And clearly, we've got a dictatorship here where if you don't do as you're told, your face don't fit, and you'll be out the door. And that's what they want with these compulsory redundancies as well. And we mustn't be frightened about that. What we must do is remain resolute and determined, because we will win this dispute, and we will stop this. What they want to happen, we will stop that from happening.
Thank you. Could bring you some breaking news, actually, which is good. Is that the Labour Party? There's been some questions, Dave, about the Labour Party and Andy today. But the Labour Party have just written to Grant Shapps, Secretary of State, and demanded a public inquiry into the state of Royal Mail and what's gone on. So we wonder if you want to comment on that, Dave.
Yeah, well, that's long overdue. So, it's good that Labour have finally come out and said something about what's going on. I don't think they're saying enough, but that's a start. And then calling for an inquiry into the actions of the company, the future of the universal service, and in particular focusing on how on earth the company has been allowed to go from £758 million profit into what they see as a crisis of losing over £1 million a day. There are questions that need to be answered by the people at the top of the company. And let's hope now that we start to get more political support on that basis. I can add to that we have already written to the First Minister in Scotland, the First Minister in Wales, and we're in the process of writing to politicians across the board in Northern Ireland, because obviously the attacks that are being made at the moment on the service, we need to heighten awareness about what that really means, particularly for people in rural areas, particularly in people who still use the service in their millions. And, we will get political support. And part of taking strike action obviously makes the position clearer about what this is all about. I'm fed up of them trying to suggest that all it's about is pay, when you all know it's also about your job and the future of the service. And therefore, we welcome what Labour have just done, but we've got to get more of it going. We are going to send you letters as well over the next couple of days, where you'll be able to follow up and write to your MP. And we're hoping to launch that with the public as well in the next couple of days. So you'll see that from us soon. Let's raise this issue politically now as well. We've been trying to do it. There's a lot going on out there. So obviously people are focused on so many different things. But yeah, good news that finally Labour have got off the fence and actually started talking about what's really going on. I mean, how on earth people in this country are allowing this to continue, this level of attack, and these people not being held to account for their mistakes is just unforgivable. And I think the public will get behind us again in even stronger numbers once we get more political support coming through.
Thank you, Dave. Dave, I'll come right back to you if I can. And obviously, Andy.
It's more breaking news?
No, it's not breaking news. It's good news, I think. It's powerful news. So I know you both want to comment on this. Yesterday, we wrote, we actually, us three had a meeting, and then I think you guys talked it through with the field officials and the postal executive around the prospect of how we use strike days to mobilise our members to add pressure to the employer. And we put out a post on our social media channels quite late last night and said, basically, we're going to hold a rally in London on the 9th of December, next Friday, which is after this week, the next strike day. And we're going to ask branches to provide transport, and we want thousands of postal workers. And we saw a reaction like we've never seen before for that sort of thing, like thousands of our members. And we can see it in the comments now. Tell us about the 9th. Tell us where we got to park. Tell us where we're going to march. All those sorts of questions, Firstly, to say that on the 9th, we are in negotiations with the Metropolitan Police on where we can go, where we can't go, etc. Maybe where we will go if we haven't got permission, even, depending on how it all goes. But, and we'll get those details for you. But what we can confirm is it's going to be a really high-profile venue in central London. So hopefully that helps with some of your plans. And we hope to have that venue nailed down tonight or tomorrow morning to get out to our branches. But two things I took from that Dave, and then obviously Andy, is one, the phenomenal support for the union. Like literally thousands upon thousands. People texting, 50 people from Dudley are getting a coach. They organise their own coach.
Yeah.
Truro, the Outer Hebrides, people in Northern Ireland saying they're willing to book a flight over here to come and be at that rally on Friday the 9th. So fantastic for the union. But the flip side of that is, like, people are so fed up with their job, so against the leadership of this company, that they are literally prepared by road, rail, plane, or any other means to get to London to protest and demand the removal of the leadership of the company. So powerful on both sides, I think. Yeah,
I mean, this is one of the things that we've been talking about doing, widening the sort of tactics that we use to win this dispute. And it is time now for our members to come to London, all of us, to join together, to show solidarity. I heard so much of that from people on picket lines only last week, the week before. They were crying out for the opportunity for us all to get together, to show, what we believe in terms of the service that we're fighting for, in terms of the jobs we're fighting for. And, we've got to do it now. You've got to come with us. If Thompson won't come to us, we'll take you to him and the ball, and we'll march, we'll demonstrate, we'll get as much publicity as we can for that event. But we want you there. We want you to see and feel the solidarity that exists with all of the other offices that are around us at the moment. So, yeah, make your plans for that. The union branches will obviously fund the cost of the coaches and everything. That's what they can do with that. And we need to get the logistics right. But start your plans now for that rally, that demonstration, because it's going to be a big event. London wouldn't have seen anything like this from one group of workers in decades and decades. So get out there. I think it's going to be a great day. I think it could be a turning point in the dispute as well, because it raises the profile. We'll go to the politicians, we'll go to the company, we'll go to the public. So make sure you're there next week. Watch out for the plans on exactly where it's going to be, but put the date in the diary now. It's the 9th of December, a national rally, a national demo, postal workers coming together, fighting for their jobs, fighting for the service.
Thank you, Dave. Brilliant. I can see it's so uplifting. People like Andy in the comments who are saying, like, wherever it happens, I'll be there. I can see guys, I think it was Airdrie, the comments are going so far from people who are saying, but Airdrie delivery office saying they'll be leaving in the middle of the night to be there. So one thing we can tell you, by the way, is it's going to be 1 p.m. So that's one thing we can, is London, central London, 1 p.m. So Andy, I mean, that must give, I mean, you have these ups and downs in the disputes, but you're seeing that sort of reaction. Is that a lift to us as a union? And the flip side, says Dave, is that a hell of a message to Royal Mail, isn't it?
Absolutely. So look, there is a roller coaster in disputes, and on occasions you do have to pick yourself up and dust yourself down and go again, and we will continue to do that. But it'd be great, fabulous to have so many of our members together in central London at 1 p.m. next Friday, and demonstrating and going out on a march, taking our banners, getting the publicity in the media. For those of you that can't make it, and obviously some long journeys there are quite inspiring, some of those examples you gave. But for those of you who can't make it, we'd obviously encourage you to remain on the picket line and be there as well. We need to ensure that we cover all bases. There's a balance to be had there, because we do need people on the picket line. But 1 o'clock's a great time, because for the areas in and around London, people can be on the picket lines at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and then come into London in time for the 1 o'clock. So look, it'd be a great day on Friday week, and I'm certain that we will get lots of press and media coverage. And it's also about putting more and more pressure onto Simon Thompson and his cohorts, because something's got to give here, something's got to break, and it's not going to be us. It won't be our members giving up. It's got to be Royal Mail, because we are just, our policies are just, our aims and aspirations are fair and reasonable, and they are being totally out of order the way you're being treated.
I mean, this point Andy makes there, Dave, is really quite a powerful one, I think, and like, you think about the stage where we are. I mean, this isn't a football club, is it, where it's just been mismanaged and people want to change in ownership, or the manager out and they're outside the ground chanting for him out. This is like a company where tens of thousands of working people who have been through a hell of a time, who are getting battered, who have suffered 10 days loss of pay, are alive and are buzzing and saying, get me to London because I want that guy out and I want this board out. I mean, this is like, it's uplifting, it's inspiring, but it's extremely powerful as well, isn't it?
Well, I think it shows how angry our members are, and the members know where the blame lies in this dispute. And we've got to now get that message out right across the whole of the UK, across London. In addition to that rally, which will be fantastic, we're also going to make sure that we've got a public-facing event that we're going to ask you to participate in, and your families and your friends and customers and businesses that you get on with, where we actually tell the truth through a leaflet that we want you to deliver at some point. We'll come out and talk to you about the logistics of that to every single address that we can deliver to. We want you all out there doing it, telling your customers that Royal Mail are destroying your jobs, destroying the service, and that we need their support, and that we will give them the numbers where they can ring and contact Royal Mail to show their support. So, we've got a number of things that we're doing. In addition to that, we've also now finalised the shareholder meeting for the 6th of December. So on the 6th of December, we'll be meeting the major shareholders. And I think that's going to be a really interesting and worthwhile session because we'll be telling them the reality of Royal Mail's plans, the reality of how angry the workforce are, and the fact that you cannot run a successful company when you wage war with your own workforce. And that's exactly what Thomson is doing. And we'll expose really the position that he's put into the shareholders, because I found that astonishing personally the other week, that on one hand he's sitting in front of the union saying they're going bankrupt in about 6 or 7 weeks if they don't axe loads of jobs, because that's the message basically. It ain't about the service, it's about putting their finances right. And at the same time he's facing the shareholders and actually saying this company has a bright future, this company has a sound balance sheet and a great asset base. And therefore, we're still in a very good position. We've just got to get it right as we move forward and recover the business. And so 2 different messages that Simon Thomson is putting out. We'll make that one message and we'll tell the truth. We'll also put forward that it's in their interest as shareholders that this company is successful, that the workforce are on board, and that they understand, the shareholders, that the greatest asset the company has is actually the workers. And our alternative proposals to grow new products and services and expand the role of postal workers to ensure that Royal Mail continues to be a major contributor to the UK economy, that will resonate with those shareholders. So, look, we're looking forward to that because it's time where we'll really get to the bottom, I think, of some of the issues that we're facing. I hope Vaser are there as well. They're going to be invited. Let's see if they turn up.
That'll be an interesting one, Dave. I want to. So you'll find Message Job Branch has got loads of people, by the way, in the comments, like hundreds about the 9th. Obviously, as we said, it's going to be central London, so that might give you hopefully enough info to get coaches. But it's going to be 1 p.m. on the Friday, so get your coaches, get your trains, book carriages, whatever you need to do, minibuses. You can get on with that. It's going to be central London, okay? So, I mean, that hopefully in the next sort of 24 hours we'll have that confirmed. Andy, a final message from you and Dave, I suppose, really to the members ahead of tomorrow's action. Obviously, it's another big step. It's another 48-hour strike. People need to do this and people need to stick with the union, yeah?
Well, absolutely. Look, first and foremost, we know that our members don't want to be on strike. They actually want to be at work. But the reality is we've got no choice in this matter. We've got to keep on demonstrating, showing how we're not prepared to put up with the attacks, the assaults on jobs, terms and conditions. It's actually quite astonishing how this dispute has morphed from the summary from pay into now the very survival of the industry, the service, and everybody's employment within that. This is now, we're fighting for the life or death of this industry, the service, and your jobs. So I know that members will remain steadfast, will remain determined. I know we know you're angry, but make sure you've got cool heads on the picket lines tomorrow. Stay strong, stay determined, and together we will win this dispute. It's an honour to represent you. You are a wonderful bunch of members, absolutely fabulous members, a credit to the trade union movement and a credit to Royal Mail. Thomson and Co should hang their heads in shame of the way that they are treating you. Stay strong. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Really good, mate. Fantastic. Dave, similar from you, buddy, opportunity to close out the meeting for the members.
Yeah, okay. So look, we're going to continue to do everything possible to reach an agreement. That's our job. It's not just about organising strikes to defend you. It's about getting in the room and negotiating. I've written to Thompson again this afternoon saying we're willing to meet them the rest of this week, the rest of next week. And we have got ideas to put forward on how we can turn this company around and how we can create a successful future for you and for customers by bringing about change that we need. But that's not the change that Thompson and the board are putting forward at the moment. Let's reiterate those issues. They're asking us to agree to mass job losses at the same time as bringing in new entrants, unlimited numbers of owner drivers, not to work alongside you, but to actually replace your role. So, you know, that no union would ever agree that, and we certainly ain't about to agree that. And their plan for the future will destroy what is 500 years of public service that Royal Mail has been able to provide to businesses and public. We're the ones fighting for that service. You're the ones fighting for that service. So stick with the union. Get out there on strike tomorrow. Keep cool and respectful on the picket lines, but absolutely get behind the union and get ready for the 9th of December, the rally, the march, the demo. We've got lots of other tactics that we're bringing forward. You'll get to hear about them. See you on the picket line tomorrow. Thanks very much.
Thanks, everyone. Take it easy. As Dave says, see you on the picket line. We'll play you out with Amy again.
It's a big day. I want to deliver 3 messages. 1 to my colleagues, 1 to Royal Mail Group managers, and 1 to the public. To my workmates, my friends, the people going through this with me, I say stick together. I haven't been a postie long, but I know all about solidarity. Thanks to you, my union, and the culture we have. Are we seriously saying, because it's tough, we're going to give up? Are we seriously saying, as working class people, we're going to bow down to millionaires who could never walk a day in our shoes? Are we seriously saying, we'll lay down and see the service we love destroyed? No, we won't. We will rise. We will picket. We will not be moved. Never mind this Christmas, Mr. Thompson. We will be here till next Christmas if we need to be. Life is about choices, everyone. I choose to fight. To the managers posting on Workplace, falling for the propaganda, believing the CEOs, this is all going to come down to you. There's no way a serious business will continue to be operated in this way. The CEO's time is limited. So is this moment. You're making decisions now which catch up with you later. If they cut our jobs, they'll cut yours too. You're being led like lemons off a cliff. And finally, to the public, thank you so much for your support. Everywhere I go, people are asking me how things are, wishing me luck. We need you. We're fighting for you. If you see your postie, please give them support. They need it right now. Simon Thompson, get back in the room or get out of the way.